Hello friends, and welcome back to Bookmas. If we haven't met before, welcome to my channel. My name is Haley, and in today's video, we are going to be going over all of the books on my physical TBR. I did a quick count before I started this video, and my physical TBR is sitting somewhere around 70-ish books, so definitely a lot. It could be worse, but still that is a large number of books that I need to read. It is so easy for me to accumulate books faster than I read them, and honestly, doing this video and going through my physical TBR might help me pick out some ones that I don't really need anymore and that I can get rid of. So this could also be very helpful. But I thought it would be fun to do a video for you guys where I just go through all of the books on my physical TBR. So that is what we're going to do today. I don't have any aesthetic shelves right now. I kind of just have books all over the place. So I have two carts that we're going to go through, and then I'm just going to get up and grab books as this video goes on to show you guys. First I have Silver Cloak by L.K. Stephen. This is a new fantasy romance series, and I do really want to get around to this one. This is my signed first edition that I got while I was in Edinburgh. Next I have Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. This is also a signed first edition that I got while I was in Edinburgh. I really want to read this because I have not yet read an R.F. Kuang book and I really want to. So maybe this will be the one that I start with. Next I have Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. Again, fantasy romance set in the same world or universe as Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows, which are two books that I did really enjoy, so I'm really looking forward to this one. Next I have Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. This is book 2 in the Alex Stern series. The first book is Ninth House, which I really loved, so I am really excited to pick this one up. Next I have the indie copies of the To Bleed a Crystal Bloom series by Sarah A. Parker. So this is the first book, the second is To Snap a Silver Stem, and the third is To Flame a Wildflower. Next I have Insatiable by Lee Rivers. This is book 1 in the Edge of Darkness trilogy. This is dark romance. I'm a little bit nervous for this one. I don't know what I'm going to think about it, but I do want to pick this one up at some point and give it a try. Next I have Phantom by Greer Rivers. All I know is that this is a Phantom of the Opera retelling, and I absolutely love that movie, so I am excited to read this one. Next I have the first 3 books in the Compelling Fate saga by Sophia St. Germain. So we have A Tongue So Sweet and Deadly, A Promise So Bold and Broken, and A Bond So Fierce and Fragile. Next I have How Does It Feel by Janine O'Reilly. I think this one is a dark fantasy romance series. I'm not 100% sure, but I have seen some people read this book and really love it, so I am looking forward to picking this one up at some point. Next I have Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This one is a fairly new release. I read Bride, which is the first book last year, and I enjoyed it. I thought that was just a fun, easy read, so I do want to read this one and I am looking forward to it. I was hoping to read it during spooky season, but I just didn't get a chance. So whenever I'm in the mood for a werewolf romance, I will definitely be picking this one up. Next I have A Fate Inked in Blood and A Curse Carved in Bone by Danielle L. Jensen. This is a completed duology, and I have just not picked these books up yet. I haven't felt inclined to. I believe this is a Viking fantasy romance, and I think that's why I haven't been as drawn to these. I'm not sure if I love Viking books. Honestly, I have yet to really try a full-blown Viking story, so I should definitely pick up this first one before I make any decisions. But this has been sitting on my physical TBR for quite some time, and I have not yet reached for it, so we'll see. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep these, but I'm hoping to at least try this first book before I make a decision to get rid of these. Next I have A Dance of Lies by Brittany Arena. This one I have been really excited for since it released in, I think, June, and I wanted to pick it up, but I just haven't picked it up yet. This one does have more of a spring summer vibe to it, so I think I am going to wait until then to read this one, but I am really looking forward to it. Next I have Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. This is the next book after Phantasma, and I actually just read Phantasma back in October and I did really enjoy it, so I do want to pick this one up. I'm hoping to pick it up in the new year, maybe during spooky season or maybe before then. We will see. Next I have Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. This is a beautiful edition of a classic that I really want to read. I've said in some previous videos that I really want to start reading more classics, and this is one I am really excited about. Again, I was hoping to read this in the fall, but there just wasn't enough time, so I did put this one on my 26 books in 2026 list, so I am hoping to read this one in the new year. Next I have Servant of Earth by Sarah Hawley. This is one I'm really excited for. I've been seeing really great things about this book. I've heard that it feels more like an old school fae fantasy book, so I am really looking forward to it and I'm very intrigued by it. So again, hopefully in the new year I will pick this one up. Next I have Gothicana by Runix, and this one is still wrapped in the plastic. and it is my Owl Crate special edition. I just don't have a good spot for this book at the moment, and I wanted to keep it wrapped until I'm ready to display it so that it stays in pristine condition. I have been meaning to read Gothicana for so long. I love some of Runix's other books, so I really want to read this. Again, I think I put this on my 26 books in 2026 list. So 2026 is the year. I will be reading this one. Next, I have In the Veins of the Drowning by Kaylee Cassidy. This is a 2025 new release, and I've seen some really wonderful things about it. I just haven't been in the mood yet for a siren book, but I do really want to read this. I've heard that the writing is really beautiful, so I am looking forward to it. Next, I have The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This is another classic that I'm looking forward to. I've heard this one kind of has a gothic feel to it. I hope that's actually true and I'm not just imagining things. But I want to read more classics, so in 2026, I'm going to read more classics. Next, I have The Reaper by Runix. This is book 2 in the Dark First series. I have read the first book, The Predator, and I really enjoyed that. It is a dark mafia romance, which isn't something that I'm usually super drawn to, but I just wanted to give it a try, and I actually really enjoyed it, so I do want to pick up book 2. Next, I have Once Upon a Demon's Heart by K.M. Moronova. I have not read anything by this author, so I do want to read this, and I really love that she did all of this art herself. I think that is super cool. And next I have Wolf E by Paisley Hope. This is a signed copy that I got while I was in Edinburgh. I believe this is a motorcycle romance, so I haven't read anything like that before, so I am very intrigued by this one. Next I have the Hunger Games series, as well as Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I missed out on reading these when I was in middle school. I was not in a big reading phase at that point, so I am sad that I missed out on that, but I do have these copies now, and I would really like to read all of these at some point. But this one is high on my priority list. So many people read this one at the start of the year and really loved it. So I have really been looking forward to this one, and I do want to read it before the movie comes out. Okay, time to swap carts. Next I have Bewitched, Bespelled, and The Curse That Binds by Laura Thalassa. I believe this is like a witchy fantasy series, so I do need to get around to these ones. Next I have Fall of Ruin and Wrath by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I actually haven't read any JLA books before. From Blood and Ash has been on my Goodreads TBR for a very long time, and I saw this one at the bookstore. I was very intrigued by it. I'm not actually sure if it's connected to her other series or not, but regardless, I do want to read this one. I'm very intrigued by it. Next, I have Never the Roses by Jennifer Kate Lambert, and this is my Owl Crate special edition. And I have Hemlock and Silver by T. Kingfisher. This is also an Owl Crate special edition. And I have The Incandescent by Emily Tesh, which again is an Owl Crate special edition. Next, I have Variation by Rebecca Yarros. Fourth Wing is one of my favorite books and favorite series of all time. So I have really been wanting to read one of her contemporary romance books just to see what that's like, and I've heard really great things about this one. Next, I have The Favorites by Lane Fargo. This is another book I have heard incredible things about. I bought this one at the beginning of 2025, so I really need to get around to it. Next, I have Magnolia Parks and Daisy Hates. These two are not super high on my priority list. I bought these back when I was primarily only reading romance, and I've seen some people who just absolutely love these books, but some people who don't, so I'm not sure how I'll feel about them. I think I would like to read these at some point though, just to see what all the hype is about. Next, I have The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling. The first book to this is The X-Hex, which I read a couple years ago, I believe. And that book was just a fun, witchy story, so I feel like this would be a good spooky season read. Next, I have Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I have read a few chapters of this book, I just never picked it back up, and I really do want to. And now that they've come out with the audiobook on Audible, I think that would be really fun to immersive read this one for the first time. Next, I have New Moon, Eclipse, Breaking Dawn, and Midnight Sun that I need to read. I read Twilight for the first time back in October, absolutely loved it, absolutely loved the movies, so I needed these beautiful editions, and I'm really looking forward to continuing this series. Next, I have the War of Lost Hearts trilogy by Carissa Broadbent. So I have Daughter of No Worlds, Children of Fallen Gods, and Mother of Death and Dawn. And these are the indie covers, which I'm super glad I have because I think these are just so gorgeous. Next, I have a few more Carissa Broadbent books. I have Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, and then I have The Songbird in the Heart of Stone and The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk. Now, I have read The Serpent and the Wings of Night and The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. Those are the first two books in this series of duologies, and I really did love those, and this is the next duology in that series. So I do really want to pick these up and get around to it and continue the series because I loved the first books and I do love Carissa Broadbent's writing. And next I have Terror at the Gates by Scarlett St. Clair. This is a 2025 new release and I've seen some really great things about this. Next I have Infernium by Carrie Lake, which is the sequel to Nightshade, which I also just read this year and I did really enjoy, so I need to pick this one up. Next I have Guild by Raven Kennedy, and this one won't be on my physical TBR for too much longer. I am planning to read this in December, and I am so excited. Next I have Bone Island by Nicole Fiorina. The first book in this series is Hollow Heathens, which I read back in October and really enjoyed. And I have heard that the second book is even better, so I am hoping to pick this one up very soon as well. Next I have On Wings of Blood and The Bond That Burns by Briar Bolin. These are the indie published copies, and I really want to get around to this series. I am really excited for it, and I do believe I put this one on my 26 and 2026 list. Next I have Direbound by Sable Sorensen. This is also my indie published copy, and this is another one I really need to get around to. I've heard that this gives Fourth Wing vibes, just with wolves, so that sounds super fun. Next I have Blood and Betrayals by Jeanette Rose and Alexis Brune. I have A Wraith Beneath the Tides by Amelia J. I believe this is an indie published, newer released book as well. And I have The Silversmith by L.J. Claren. This one I believed was recently picked up for traditional publishing, and again, I've seen some amazing reviews for this book, so I really want to read this one. Next I have all 4 books in the House of Devils series. So I have City of Gods and Monsters, City of Souls and Sinners, City of Lies and Legends, and City of Smoke and Brimstone. This is a series I really need to get around to. And then I have all 3 books in the Belladonna series. So we have Belladonna, Foxglove, and Wisteria. And I believe this is Gothic Romance, which is my favorite, so I need to read these in 2026. Next I have Arcana Academy by Elise Kova. This is another new 2025 release. I've seen some mixed reviews about this one. I've heard that you really need to have your brain on for it, so I think that's why I haven't really reached for it yet. But one day I will pick this up. Okay, and these last 4 books I have are special editions from subscription boxes that I have. So the first is What Fury Brings by Trisha Levenseller. I believe this one is a fairly recent 2025 release, like in the last half of the year. I haven't seen too many reviews on this one though, so if you have read this, let me know what you think of it. Next I have The Deathless One by Emma Hamm. This book I actually know nothing about. This one is from my OwlCrate subscription, and I really haven't heard anything about this one. So if you have heard of this or read this one, let me know what you thought. Next I have The Courting of Bristol Keats by Mary E. Pearson. I believe this is fantasy romance. And the last book I have is Behooved by M. Stevenson. And I think this is also a fantasy romance. Okay, those are all of the books I have on my physical TBR. I believe that was 73. If I counted correctly, that was 73 books. And honestly, it could be worse. I could be over 100, but I'm not. I'm at 73. That is not bad, and I do want to pick up a bunch of those in 2026. The problem is that I will probably continue buying books and it will just continue stacking up. The cycle never ends. But you know what? I am going to continue trying to check off all of the books on my physical TBR. But anyways, those were all of the books on my physical TBR. Let me know if you have read any of these books, and also let me know if you think I need to prioritize any of them or bump them up on my TBR and pick them up immediately, because I definitely want to prioritize a lot of these books in 2026. That is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me go through my entire physical TBR, and I will see you guys in the next Bookmas video. Bye!